Hello, movie maniacs, and welcome to More Movies Weekly number 22.
We Jump Street, and we're about to jump in your ass.
My name's Greg Fisher. This legend sitting next to me is David Roberts. We're here to talk to you about film, movies, cinema, all that sort of stuff. What's what, what's hot, and what's not in the land of movies. How are you doing this week, Dave?
I'm very well, sir. Very well. And how are you?
I myself am very well also. Thank you very much. We've got loads to get through, so let's crack straight on and get into the show. So this week we have been watching a brand new film called CODA, which is an acronym for Child of Deaf Adults. It is about a young girl who lives with a deaf family. They are fishermen in, I think, the Massachusetts area, somewhere not too far from Boston. And they have a little fishing trawler. They go out each day. Obviously, her father and her brother work the fishing boat. She's on board to help them out. They're both stone deaf. She is not deaf, and she can hear, obviously, and talk and everything. And in a way, she's kind of their interpreter for the rest of the world. Her mom is also deaf, but her mom's sort of like at home. She's not on the boat or anything, but there she is. She's deaf as well. Anyway, the young girl, played by Emilia Jones, is a very talented singer. And this is noted by her school teacher, who is Bernardo Villalobos, who notices that she's got a really great voice.
My name is Bernardo Villalobos. If you can't roll your R's.
And long story short, she basically gets the opportunity to do a interview for Berkeley and go to music college and pursue that side of her dream, so to speak. But she's torn between that and being the only real lifeline to the hearing world for the rest of her family.
It's the classic tale, isn't it? The kid who wants to kind of fly the nest, but is kind of conflicted between the family and her own dreams. You know, it's a
I kept thinking of Luke Skywalker. You know, it's just one more season. You can go and fool around with your friends next year.
But it's a whole nother year.
It is. It's that classic fairy tale kind of folklore thing, isn't it? The fight between staying with what you know in your family and all that their needs and your need to fly the nest, you know.
Absolutely. So I thought great performances here, especially from young Emilia Jones. She was excellent in it. I believe the people who play her family are all actually deaf. So they're deaf actors, which was nice.
They're all deaf performers, which is fantastic for a major film, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's kind of an indie feel to this. It's, you know, it's a drama film, so there's nothing too stupid in there. There's no like massive explosions, bank robberies, murders, all of this kind of jazz going on. It's kind of grounded and realistic sort of story. But I quite enjoyed it, actually. I thought, you know, considering it's not the sort of thing I'd usually go for, but I did enjoy watching it. As I say, it was well performed. All the actors in it were pretty good and believable. And her central character kind of carried the film through. I liked the choice of songs that they sang in it as well, because you had a couple of songs from Marvin Gaye there and a song from Joni Mitchell that featured quite prominently and all. And, you know, that's all cool with me. I love Marvin Gaye. I love Joni Mitchell. So, you know, but what I mean is, as, you know, as a music fan, as somebody who's, you know, the age that I'm at, it's nice to see that they were doing songs from the old days rather than stuff I'd just never heard of, you know. So I kind of enjoyed that side of it.
I've looked at clouds from both sides now.
Yeah, it was interesting because they obviously put her together as a character that enjoyed that kind of different music, wasn't it? It was like she was very kind of hipster, as people would say, in her music choice with her record collection. And
the Shags. She was listening to a band called the Shags. I've never heard of them actually until this film, but it was interesting to find out about. Obviously, there's a romantic element to it. There's a romantic drama in that way because obviously they're teenagers and there's a boy she likes in the choir as well, and he likes her, and they both quite shy characters. So I thought it was interesting the way he saw her life as a perfect life because she was so close to her family. and he was professing to come from a family that was very cold and with
Fractured,
parents that weren't very close to one another, etc. So, that whole thing of grass is always greener on the other side is what I was going to say.
Yeah, it was that kind of each of them seeing each other's lives as far more perfect than their own and hating their own lives, and and it's that kind of interesting element of, yes, you say the grass is always greener. Someone seeing someone else and going, "Oh, that's much better than what I'm in," but not understanding what they're feeling and their reality in that situation, which was a nice element of it.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me in a way of we watched the film last year, Sound of Metal, with Riz Ahmed. And that was a little bit more serious, I think, because, this was about somebody who was into music, a drummer, and then he loses his hearing as a result of, battering his ears with heavy metal music. And therefore, he loses his hearing, and it's kind of a tragedy, really, isn't it? It's quite a heavy film. It's quite sad. And by the end, you're left a little bit, oof, But in the sense that it was kind of talking about deaf people and deaf people's plight, especially in terms of music. And I found this very interesting because as a musician myself, to imagine never, ever being able to have ever heard any music for your whole life is, that to me is something that I found a quite upsetting concept. So there's elements in this film, in CODA, where she's obviously gets to the point where the choir perform at the end of term sort of concert, and all the parents go, and obviously her parents and her brother are all deaf, so they can't even hear
what she's doing.
The result of her efforts, where she's been, training with the choir to do these duets, and the way that they portray this in the film and the way that it comes across. I found that really actually quite emotional and to a degree quite upsetting. I almost felt a little bit upset at one point because it made me think in my life, if I'd never been able to hear music, it'd be, immeasurably different.
That's it. And I think you're right. Sound of Metal was, a very different film. It's a lot more powerful, and it's a very different story, a more serious concept, and one of my pick for the film of the year. This is a very different film. It's more lighthearted. It's a lot less serious, but it packs the punch all the same for the way it does it, because it's doing it through humor.
Yeah,
and exactly that kind of thing. Because I thought one of the most telling lines in the film is the mother saying to her, later on when she's like, "I want to go to music college and all this," and she's like, "Oh, why are you into music?" And the mother's like, doesn't get it. But also the line she says, isn't it, is, if I was blind, would you be into art? As if she's doing it to spite her.
Yeah.
And you think how sad that is. She there's no connection there. She's all struggling to get a connection.
Sure.
Because of the difference. And it is incredibly sad. But, it focuses on... I like it because it focuses on the concept of deafness through the characters more than anything else.
Yeah.
It's not about the thing. It's just about them living.
Yeah.
But it shows their reality of everyday life, and all that humor that comes out is hilarious. Which the jokes are through the subtitles. You're reading the jokes, but they're so funny. Like the fart joke. With the dad at the dinner table, her best friend who fancies her brother, and I've got herpes.
Very, very funny. Good stuff there, using sign language to sort of trick people.
And
that's one of the really charming things about the film, though. It was very funny. The performance from the dad in particular, he's quite a comical actor in his way.
Yeah.
The way he's animated and his facial expressions and everything are just quite amusing just to look at. But, there is that good comedy element. So it's a film you will have a good giggle at as you're moving through it, as this character's struggle with everything. It produces a lot of comedy elements, but also later on, when there are these more poignant moments, they're brought home all the more so, I think, because you've kind of it's been a bit more lighthearted and it's been a bit of a laugh. And then it takes a slightly more serious edge as the closer she gets to her dreams and performing, and the difference between her world doing that and the world she has known being the child of deaf adults, and being that only connection to the hearing world.
It's a coming-of-age film. It's a more light-hearted film. It's very formulaic. It hits all the beats and the tropes that you'd expect from a film like this. It's never going to surprise you. You kind of know what's coming.
Yeah.
But it does it in a really nice way. It's not patronising. It's quite sweet. I mean, I loved the relationship of the two fancying each other.
Yeah.
That was done really well throughout. Quite a realistic portrayal of the kind of daring not to say anything and the kind of problems of teenage love and stuff like that, which was done very nice. And altogether, in the end, it's sweet. It is really sweet, and moving at times. There's the moment where the father asks her to sing, and he puts his hands on her neck to feel the vibrations. Yeah. To hear her sing, and it's so sweet and moving, and you think, it is that thing. If we no concept of what that is like,
no,
and
exactly.
It is a kind of thing of a peek into that world, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's that standard trope of the girl with the family she's been embarrassed of and can't wait to leave, but in the end she learns to love them and all that, but. The complication in it all isn't that they're deaf, it's that she isn't. And there's that moment in the film where she asks her mum, did you want me to be deaf? When she's a baby, and she's like, I did, yeah, because I didn't think the connection would be there. And it's that feeling of being an outsider within your own family. And I think that's quite a powerful line that runs through the film, really, the kind of isolation element that she has.
But also,
in her own family.
She's absolutely essential to them as well, because the whole thing about, well, do you go to college or do you stay on and help the family through their troubles to be able to still earn money doing the fishing thing? And, I thought there was good conflict there in the sense that, life is a complicated thing. Sometimes you are both an outsider and also completely essential to the daily runnings of the family and how things happen. But there's lots to love about it. I'd give it definitely a thumbs up from me.
Absolutely, it's worth watching, worth going and checking out, and it's an enjoyable couple of hours.
So this is a film that was voted for by our patrons on patreon.com. You can also do the same for next week's film. If you jump over to patreon.com on our profile, you can join one of the packages and vote on what we're going to be talking about in next week's show. So links are in the description below.
So in other news this week, Beverly Hills Cop 4 is reportedly to begin filming very shortly, and Netflix are going to be funding this one. We, of course, talked about this possibility before, coming to America, which came out on Amazon earlier this year when we covered that in the show as well. It was a kind of so-so film.
That's being kind.
Sounds fucking awful.
We thought Amazon would pick this up, having that relationship there with Eddie Murphy, but it seems like Netflix have jumped on board, and this looks like it's about to happen.
Yes, it does. Again, one of those sequels that not only is it a fourth installment, like we've said before, it starts to get dodgy after you go outside the trilogy, no matter what the franchise. One of your personal gripes being with Toy Story 4, which you didn't like.
Oh, shut up.
So this one, how many years later since the third one? Years and years, probably 20 years at least, if not more.
1994,
my God, 27 years. I mean, I love Eddie Murphy. I grew up with Eddie Murphy. I loved all his films. I loved the original Beverly Hills Cop movies, especially the first two anyway. I loved Coming to America. I loved The Golden Child. I loved, there was one called Boomerang he did, which was really funny. Trading Places, of course. Bowfinger was one of my favorites as well, which he did a few years later with Steve Martin. Very, very funny film. But I don't know, after the Coming to America, I was so excited about that. And it was such a letdown that with this idea, I'm just sort of reserving judgment until I see any more about it. And, could be wrong, could be like, oh, that was really good. They did a great job with Beverly Hills Cop 4. It was a great sequel, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm not overly excited.
No, neither am I. But we'll see. We will keep tabs on it. Let's put it that way.
We like to keep tabs on our prodigal sons.
So in other news, did you see on Instagram that Michael J. Fox published a wonderful photo of him and Christopher Lloyd? I thought it was nice. I love to see those guys together, even though they'll never do another Back to the Future film, which is a good thing because we don't need another Back to the Future film. It's a perfect trilogy, in my opinion. But I do like to see these guys get together. You can tell that they've shared something special in their lives, and they still keep in touch and keep up with one another. It's always nice to see Marty and Doc.
Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wonderful photo. It's the 36th anniversary for Back to the Future, so that's why they're together. It is great to see them. They look fantastic together, and yeah, it is a very good thing that all the people involved have always said that they're never going to remake it. They're never going to do a sequel. That's it. It is what it is. And I think that's perfect. That's the right way to treat these things. Yeah. Love the guys. Christopher Lloyd, fantastic. Michael J. Fox, legend,
Total legend. Dave wrote an article last year, 13 Things You Might Not Know About Back to the Future. So if you're a fan of that particular trilogy, you might want to check out Dave's interesting article. We will again link that below in the description for you to have a look at.
In other news this week, the big news of the week, the trailer dropped for Spider-Man No Way Home. Greg, very excited about this news. We did a reaction the other day. That's up on the YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the description down below. But huge news in the Spider-Man universe.
Sure is. I believe they call it the Spider-Verse. But it is huge news. It's been eagerly anticipated for months. Tom Holland and Zendaya and other people that are in it have been taking part in a kind of drip feeding little bits of information out about it. We had a little trailer they did together a couple of months ago where they're all coming out of a production meeting and sort of hinting at this, that, and the other. So that was sort of first little sneak peek. Then you had a bunch of posters that were released that hinted at this, that, and the other. And that was quite an exciting little part of it. And now, finally, the first teaser trailer has dropped, and everyone who's a fan of Marvel's flagship character is extremely excited at the moment. Their spider sense is tingling, shall we say.
That's it. There's loads of returning faces in this one. Of course, Jamie Foxx is back for this film. We covered that previously in the show.
Is he definitely back, is he?
Definitely back as Electro. Last appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I know. Alarm bells are ringing on that one.
Willem Dafoe, which we heard a little voice of in the trailer, is back as
we
Green
heard
Goblin.
The Green Goblin's laughter, so he's back, which is great. Obviously, Alfred Molina is in the trailer as Doc Ock. He's got some sort of new funky millennials haircut in it, which is kind of cool. Got that little perm going on. I like it.
Benedict Cumberbatch in it from as Doctor Strange from his films, and of course Tom Holland's back as Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
They haven't announced yet if Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will be in it, but that's what people are really holding on for.
Yeah,
whether it'll be.
They'll keep that very quiet, won't they, if that's happening?
But that would be a nice reveal to let go of just before release, really, which is planned for Christmas. Tweet of the week this week, I reminded people that the greatest ever Spider-Man was, of course, Nicholas Hammond from the 1978 version of Spider-Man, which was my sort of first experience of a live-action Spider-Man, really. I did an article about Spider-Man, reviewing Into the Spider-Verse and talking about my personal history with the character. So we'll also put a link to that below in the description if you want to have a read of that. It's there.
And talking of Into the Spider-Verse, There's a sequel, Into the Spider-Verse 2, coming out. That they've not officially announced the title or anything, but some teaser footage was revealed by Sony at CinemaCon. This shows Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy returning in the film. So they're doing another one of those. We've covered this before, and it's quite enjoyable animation. Like
millions of other Spider-Man fans across the world, it's great news to hear that they're going to do another Spider-Verse movie. I want to see Miles Morales in the live action. I want that character to come into it. To be honest, I'd rather that than Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire if they didn't bring them into it, but they did have Miles Morales in it. I think that'd be super cool, because then it'll sort of shoot off this idea of having the Miles Morales character running, alongside Tom Holland's, and it's just a really cool concept. I thought I just like that whole idea of rebooting Spider-Man in that way.
I think it's inevitable it's got to come as well. I think because they've obviously done a lot of Miles Morales in the video games, haven't they, and stuff like that. Yeah. So it must be inevitable that that's going to happen. Because
who knows though? They might bring like the old boys, Maguire and Garfield, back in, and then right at the end you'll get a teaser of Miles for the next one. You never know. There's plenty of directions they could go in, and loads of potential content that will be coming from the Spider-Man franchise anyway. It's exciting.
And there's only one we really want to see return, and that's Spider-Pig.
It's Spider-Ham. I can tell.
Spider-Ham.
Spider-Pig's from The Simpsons.
That's the one. That's the one we want.
Oh, okay, Flanders.
Spider-Pig does whatever a Spider-Pig does.
Okay, so in other news as well, did you see that the latest Mission Impossible film, which is getting shot over here at the moment, crashed a massive big steam train by letting it roll off the tracks into a gorge? What do you make of that then?
It's impressive.
It's
impressive. I like how they're doing it for real as well. This isn't CGI. And it's like, no, let's throw a train off the tracks into a quarry. It looks cool. I'm sure Tom Cruise was probably on the train, as he likes to do his own stunts.
It's interesting as well, because we were talking about the movie The Train from 1964 in a previous podcast on here. Now, that's like a classic World War II movie. And they did actually crash a steam train in that movie. And it's really impressive part of the film, and you watch it and you can see that it's all real. And I think we said at the time, they'll never do anything like that nowadays because it's CGI and stuff like that. Well, we're eating our words really, because Tom's coming along with his Mission Impossible franchise, and he's obviously been listening to the podcast, and he said, I'm going to show those couple of limeys how to crash a steam train, and he's gone and done it. So I got to be honest, thanks, Tom. Thanks, buddy.
You complete me.
And of course, after crashing this train, Tom Cruise went for a curry in Birmingham. Did you see about this?
Imagine that. Imagine Tom at the curry house. Like, give me the hottest thing in the house.
Apparently did. He apparently asked for some curry and had the extra spices thrown in.
God, what's he like?
Because that's Tom Cruise, isn't it?
He can take whatever spice you can take. He can take twice the spice.
Oh dear,
the old Spice himself. God love him. The longer time goes on, the more I'm starting to like Tom Cruise again. I don't know why. I just think
almost in an ironic way.
Yeah, in a very meta ironic way, I'm starting to fall in love with Tom Cruise again.
First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face.
Also, did you see about, on a different tack, the new cover art that they've produced for the Criterion Collection's version of Citizen Kane?
Yes, so obviously Criterion Collection have decided that they're releasing their first 4K Ultra HD releases. They picked out 4 films. Mulholland Drive was one of them.
Yay!
Which is one of my favourites. And Citizen Kane was obviously picked, and it was always going to be picked for the first UHD release. Yeah. But the artwork they chose is
minimalist
of shit.
Minimalist, Dave, to say the least.
There's minimalist, and then there's not bothering.
Well, also, I think, as one person pointed out, it's kind of they didn't really think it out because this one person tweeted a picture of it saying, check out Criterion's new Citizen Kane cover, on the shelves, spelling out the letters KKK.
Fantastic, eh?
Somebody just didn't see that coming or what, For fuck's sake, guys. I mean, it's disappointing because a lot of the artwork that they bring out for their stuff is sometimes really cool. They do some great jobs. It is usually
very good, yeah.
Some of it's a bit minimalist again sometimes. So I remember they did one for the Parallax View a couple of months ago, which was very minimalist, and it was just like sort of, very, simple kind of design, but it worked and it gets the film across. But just the white K on a black background, I just thought, ooh, what are you doing?
It seems odd as well because you see they've usually been they're known for great packaging. They do a great job. They put loads of extras on the DVDs, booklets in, all this kind of stuff. So usually their cases look fantastic and they've got some great examples of artwork they've done for films. And it's odd because Citizen Kane as well has some great artwork been done over the years that I've seen on covers and posters that all look fantastic. And you sit there thinking, why not pick something like this? Like there's some great stuff.
And just to mention as well, this week we lost one of the greats of Japanese cinema. Sonny Chiba has passed away at the age of 82 from pneumonia, complications arising from contracting COVID-19, which is a real slug in the guts. Poor guy. Good age, 82, but still, you do think without the pandemic, without this virus, he could have gone on to live a long time, A lot of people will know him from as Hattori Hanzo from the Kill Bill film. Quentin Tarantino is a massive fan of this guy's work. Outside of the action martial arts genre, maybe not so well known as an actor, but certainly well known to people who follow those sort of movies.
I wasn't totally aware of him. I knew him from the Kill Bill films, obviously.
I think that's where most people will know him.
Yeah, most Western audiences will, but obviously he's had a amazing career over in Japan and in that kind of cinema with things like The Street Fighter and Karate Kiba and Invasion of the Neptune Man, and so he's in a very specific part of cinema. He's quite an icon, really.
Totally. Another master of cinema has passed on to the other side. That just leaves us enough time to tell you what we've been up to on our website this week. So we've got our usual This Week in Film History article, which is great for film buffs and history fans who want to see what's been going on in movie history.
We've also got our top 5 Akira Kurosawa films up on the website. We, of course, do these all the time, our top 5 films from specific directors. This week it's Kurosawa. And a great article put together by Greg there.
Talking about great articles done by us, there's a fantastic review for the classic Alfred Hitchcock film Rope, which is from 1948 that you've put together. You're a big Hitchcock fan, aren't you, Dave?
I am massive fan of Hitchcock. I think he is the master, really, that everyone should look to. He's been there and done it all and wrote the language of cinema almost. So yeah, Rope, just review up on the website and of course here on the YouTube channel as well. For those who want to see it, links down below.
Fantastic. Now, Dave, do you fancy a coffee?
Yeah, get me a double latte with a shot of caramel and coconut milk.
I'm afraid all I've got left is freeze-dried instant Nescafe.
Golden roasted, richer, smoother Nescafe Gold Blend.
I don't know why I let you do that.
Because
You serve better coffee.
Go on then.
I think someone needs to buy us a coffee.
Please buy us a coffee.
Which you can do over at buymeacoffee.com if you want to support us without any strings attached. There you go. You can just jump over there and buy us a coffee. And that'd be really appreciated because we need the caffeine so we can stay up later, watch more movies, report back on them, and create more film-based content for you to enjoy. If that's not really your bag, maybe you want to become a patron over at patreon.com. As we mentioned earlier in the podcast, you can vote on what we are going to be talking about in forthcoming podcast episodes, also reviews. You can have a say in that as well. So all the links are below in the description. And we thank you in advance for your support.
And remember to join us on social media, More Movies For You. That's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the ones, where you can see things like Movie of the Day, which is something like this.
Quick question. Do you fancy some gun-blazing, fast car driving, explosive action with Robert De Niro, Jean Reno and Sean Bean? Of course you do. Then check out Ronin from 1998, directed by John Frankenheimer. It's a stone-cold killer. So there we go, my friend. That's another week done, dusted, tied into a neat bow and sent off into the ether, into the Spider-Verse, as we may say. Please join us again next week. Thank you for joining us this week. And take care of yourselves. Keep watching more movies. Well, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to leave us a comment and smash that like button right here on YouTube. In the meantime, if you want to check out more of our reviews and articles, check out our website, moremovies.co.uk. And come and join us on social media at More Movies For You. That's Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of that jazz. And if you want to support us because you like our content, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com, or you can just buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. All the links are in the description below. And to check out more of our filmtastic content, click on one of the buttons on screen now.